Hey guys, welcome back. I was sitting here, I was thinking about doing a video for you guys. I figured I'd just do a live one so I could answer any questions if you're out there. I wanted to talk a little bit about history, where we came from, how we started in the business. It seems like a trend a lot of guys are doing, and I guess it's good because you get some background on who we all are, right? You know, for me, I'm 43, man. I started in this business right out of high school, basically. Hey, man, how are you? Thanks for joining in. I got out of high school and pretty much knew what I wanted to do. I mean, I didn't want to go to school anymore, and uh, I was always good with my hands. I did welding as a kid. My dad was a my dad was a blacksmith and a welder. Uh, yeah, history lesson, right? Uh, my father was a welder and a blacksmith for a very long time. Did all sorts of really cool stuff, man. He made some things that just blew my mind. A lot of people's minds actually. And I always had a fascination with that type of stuff, working with your hands and uh, building things and making things work and figuring out how they work and all that stuff. So when I started out, uh, I mean, I've been around this stuff probably since I was 5 years old. You know what I mean? Honestly, like I was in my dad was doing something in the garage. I'd be going out there to find out what he was doing and how it worked, and more under his feet, I guess, than anything else. But he would, from a very young age, he would put a torch in my hand and teach me how to burn things and cut things, and it was, oh man, I used to love it. Uh, yeah. So what I guess gained from that was the ability, I guess like a certain dexterity, right? Like with your hands to learn how to do things. So I picked it up from a young age, playing around with all that stuff at home. And my dad he was not a mechanic per se, but I mean he was kind of a jack of all trades with things. I mean I remember when I was a kid, I was probably 5. He changed the engine in the backyard on his. He had a Carmen Ghia at the time, and the engine seized on it, and he did an engine in it in the yard, which you know 5 years old, that was pretty cool to see. You know what I mean? I was out there trying to help him, handing him tools and things, and it's pretty neat, man. But always taking things apart, man. Even as a kid, all that stuff, just always into that stuff. So as I got older, I was playing around with bicycles and then mini bikes and mopeds and anything I could get my hands on and try to figure out how it worked. I mean, sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. You know what I mean? I'd take things apart and that was that. You know what I mean? It'd end up in the pile on the side or until I could figure out how to fix them, or uh, or until I could get my dad to fix them. But always learn something. Yeah, it is, man. It's the best way to learn. But I'll tell you something about that. We'll get back to that. It's pretty funny, man. My friend Joe Delia that I used to work for said something about taking things apart. He goes, anybody could take it apart. Putting it back together and getting it to work is a whole other story. That's the words to live by. But it's always fun to see how things tick, right? So anyway, out of high school, I thought it was going to be real easy. I said, I'll go get a job in a shop, no problem. I'll learn the trade. And then I found something out. I found out the real world doesn't work like that. I went around, I was 16, I guess. I went around to shops all over the area and told them, yeah, I want to be a mechanic. I want to learn how to work on cars and, be a professional and this and that. And they all asked me one thing that was in common, what experience do you have? And I was like, oh, well, I've been taking things apart since I was a kid. And they were like, you know, it didn't go very far. So they basically told me that I need experience. Um, what do you call? I need experience to get hired. And I said, well, how do I get experience if nobody will hire me? Uh, that put a damper on things. I couldn't find a job. I ended up delivering pizza, going to a friend of mine and his pizzeria and started delivering pizza. That sucked. I mean, it didn't suck. I mean, it was all right. I was a kid, but uh, I really wanted to get into the automotive stuff, so I kept asking around, and A friend of mine who was working in the parts department at a local dealership was quitting for a different job. So he says, I could get you in there. And I said, I don't want to deliver parts. I might as well just stay delivering pizza. I says, you know what I mean? What's the point? And he talked me into it. He says, you'll get your foot in the door. He says, then you could start working in the shop. If you could become a tech. It was a young company at the time. It was Saturn. Saturn was only around for about I think they were only open selling cars for about a year, right? So what I did was I went up there and I applied for the job. The guy that was doing the interview liked me. He says, "You're going to be reliable," and I says, "Yeah." I says, "No, I said I deliver pizza. They're always happy." So he started laughing. He said, "All right." He goes, "So my guys, I don't have to worry about you disappearing." Mind you, guys, there was no cell phones, no GPS systems in the cars and things. So parts guys at the time, I guess in their experience, would take the truck and they would get the deliveries for the day or for the morning or whatever, and they would go out and they'd go up 22 or something, and they would end up at the nudie bar. So there was no way to tell what happened. You know what I mean? They would just tell them they got a flat tire or something, whatever. You know what I mean? And they got stuck for a while, and they would basically jerk around and not get the job done. So I made it a point not to ever do that. If I had a job to do, I want to get the job done, and I want to make my employer happy, and I want to make the people that are waiting for the parts happy. I did everything to the best of my ability. I used to ask them if I'm not out on the road and I have no parts to worry about, putting parts away and things like that. I really want to become a tech. I want to learn how to work on these things, and so they told me I had freedom to spend any amount of time in the shop that I wanted to, as long as I got my job done. So, of course, I did everything in my power to make sure that my job was done quickly and I could get back to the shop. So at the time, there were there were three techs only at the shop. It was Saturn was a small dealership where I am in Jersey City. It was very small dealer, very small service department. It was a nice family-oriented type of environment. Yeah, 22 is rough, man. 22 is a lot of accidents and fatalities. Bad road. Uh, so I spent my time trying to learn from these three guys that were in the shop. There was guys that were experienced techs, all from different dealers. They had all worked in a different dealership previously. So I was gaining knowledge from these guys, learning how to diagnose these cars, learning how to work on them. And they were surprised to see that I had a background, not so much at all in the diagnostic end of things, but I could figure things out, and I was good with things that they didn't expect. You know what I mean? Putting exhaust systems on, like for a young kid, they didn't expect me to be able to put stuff together and do it well, like, do everything where, things weren't hanging or rubbing or whatever, you know what I mean? Doing things the right way. So I was always good with that kind of thing. Uh, I remember the one time they took an instrument cluster out of one of the vehicles for a solder joint that broke, and when I saw it sitting there, I knew I knew what he had to do, and I just took it upon myself. He was busy, and he was going to go back to that, and I soldered I resoldered the board for him, and at that, I think that's actually when uh, he really took me under his wing, the guy, and tried to really help me, because he was surprised that I took it upon myself to do that, and I didn't screw it up. So I think that was a good thing. Uh, I always work on Saturday, Wyatt. Yeah, man, I don't take any time off. I even work when I'm not working. You know what I mean? This is a lifestyle, man. It's not a job. It's just is. Uh, but I got done with what I had to do for today, and I figured I would hop on here and see who's around and talk a little bit about where we came from, basically. You know what I mean? Um, so anyway, at that point with Saturn, I started to learn. I started to work in the shop more and more. Um, and we had, I enjoyed the experience for the most part. I liked working there. The problem that I had with the dealership, and I learned this at a young age from working there, dealers, for the most part, take care of those who they want to take care of. And it's just the experience I've always had and my friends have always had from, over the years. I wanted to be a tech. I didn't want to be in parts. And I explained this to these guys. I kept saying it to these guys. And the one tech there was pushing for me to be in the shop because he liked me and he wanted me to progress. He saw potential, I guess. Uh, they didn't want to. They, at the time, they were sending people to Tennessee to their training plant, to their facility to learn and become, I guess, certified. I don't know if you want to say it was certified, but you would get training from them, and you would be considered a higher ranked tech. Excuse me, through their training. But for me, it never happened. They wouldn't send me to classes, and as much as I begged for it, they wouldn't do it. So I put up with it for 4 years, and don't get me wrong, they did put me in the shop more and more. I think I actually, if I don't even remember. I think at one point I wasn't even doing parts anymore. I was just in the shop, but it was like as an apprentice. So I wasn't satisfied with that because I wanted training. I wanted to, these guys were trying to teach me, but you need to go to training and whatever, and you needed that at the time too for your pay scale. You weren't going to get paid, much of anything as an apprentice. So I wanted to progress, and I wasn't able to get that. So I got fed up after about, I think it was about 3 or 4 years. I got fed up, and I asked for a meeting with the manager and explained, how I felt, and you know, they had gone through two other technicians in the time that I was there. They had tried out, sent them to school, fired them, and here I was still there, still trying to progress and getting held back. So I wasn't happy with that, and I told the guy, I said, if you give me the opportunity to go, I said, I'm not going to disappoint you. I said, I've done everything everybody asked here. I've showed a lot of interest in learning, and and I just keep getting overlooked. So he says, well, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go to school. And hey, Bill, and they wouldn't send me to class. So I says, well, if I can't progress, I'm going to leave. I need to find some place where I can progress. And I figured that I thought of myself as somewhat of an asset at the time. Guess I wasn't, because he goes, at least we could part on good terms. That was that. So I said, okay. I said, thanks, man, and I left. I wasn't gonna like just sit there. So I left, and at that point, I couldn't find a job in another dealership, and I couldn't. It was terrible. I ended up going to work for a local parts place here in Bayonne, actually, and the name of the place is Miller's. They're a family-owned business for a long time. Nice guys. They embraced me over there to go, work for them, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And I was happy. I was, good thing. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, man. That's right. You can't sit there and just keep being held back. So when I started working there, it wasn't by any, and I even told him, I said, look, this is kind of an in-between thing. I need money, you know what I mean? I need to work, and I really want to be in the field. And he goes, well, maybe we could find you something. We deal with a lot of shops. Maybe you'll find somebody will hire you. I said, okay. Uh, I don't know how long I worked there. I don't remember. It wasn't that long. A friend of mine who was working for Joe's Auto Electric, as it happens, at the time, we used to hang out all the time together. And I said to him, "What about your boss? Can he hire me?" I said, "You got, He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I don't know." He's like, he might be looking for somebody." And I was like, "Well, talk to him." I said, "See if he's interested." I said, "Let me go try out or talk to him or whatever he wants me to do." And knowing that they did electrical diagnostic stuff, and I really wanted to get in there because the shop had a really good reputation, man. I wanted to get in that place, and I remember the guy, my buddy, I kept asking him every day, and he kept saying, "Oh, I forgot to ask him." I was like, "Dude," I was like, "Write a note for yourself or something." I said, "You got to talk to him." So finally he, what do you call it? He talked to him for me, and the guy, Joe had said, "Yeah, tell him to come in on Saturday because they were always open a half a day. They were open till like 2 o'clock." He says, "Come in on a Saturday in the morning." And he wanted me to try out. Basically, he didn't want to interview me. He just wanted me to go in and see if I had any kind of mechanical ability. Um, that's a long story, man. Um, yeah, this is my jacket. My wife actually bought this jacket for me, man, as a gift. So yeah, this is mine. Uh, but what happened was when I went to try out over there with this guy to see if it was a fit. I walked in, he introduced himself. Very nice guy, laid back. I mean, never yelled. Never, just a very Joe's one of the best guys I ever met. He's like a father to me. He's just one of the best people I ever met. Nothing I could say about him that's, I mean, usually like, people are like, my boss. There's nothing, man. He's just the best person, like one of the best people I've ever met in my life. And when I went there that day and we talked, he says, well, I said, what do you want me to do? I said, you want me to work today, or do you want to try me out for a couple of days? And he's like, well, I have a job here. He said, my other guy's out. He said, one of my other guys is out. He said, I'd like you to take a car apart. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, what do you got? He says, he had some kind of, I forget what it was. It might have been an old Nissan or something with a timing belt, and he wanted me to take it apart. And I was like, God damn! I've never done that. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm gonna look like a fool. I'm gonna waste a few hours of my life, and I'm gonna go home without a job. But I figured, what the hell? Try, whatever, taking things apart, right? He never said anything about putting it together, so. And I was upfront with him. I said, look, I've never done a time and belt job or nothing. I said, I explained the whole thing with the dealer and never being allowed to do any major stuff or whatever. And he's like, all right, well, you got to start somewhere. So you want to try it? He said, give it a shot. So I was like, okay. So I took it apart, and I laid everything out. I had no idea how this thing, I didn't know how it worked or anything. I took it apart and laid everything out piece by piece with the bolts, where they go. And, I mean, just very, very careful. Because I was figuring, if I have to put it back together, I really don't want to screw this up. And after I got it all apart, he says, hey, he says, you put everything like that. And he was just really surprised that I laid everything out, I guess, as a younger guy, like, what I mean, not real experienced, and I did everything kind of neat, you know what I mean. So he was impressed. He was happy with everything, and he says, oh, he says, that's great. The other guy that worked for him. His name, they called him Bear. He was the guy that was out that day. Mostly he did carburetors, but he did a lot of mechanical work. And he ended up, when he came in on that Monday, because what happened was, I was still working for Miller's. So I told Joe, I want to give them notice if I get hired. I don't want to just leave. And he goes, that's fine. So I gave him 2 weeks notice, or a week's notice, whatever it was. And the cool thing was, that Monday, I obviously went back to work for Miller's, right? So that Monday, Bear goes into work to put this thing back together, and he was the kind of person that if somebody else took it apart, he was not happy to have to be the guy to put it together, because he figured it's going to be a mess. It's like he's going to go in, he doesn't know where anything is, he's not happy. And he says, who took this thing apart? He says, Joe told me later, who took this apart? He's like, oh, this kid, I tried him out, Saturday. He said, I think I'm going to hire him. I'm gonna, I hired him or whatever. I tried him out Saturday. So he's like, he took this apart like this. He's put everything like this. He laid it all out. He says, yeah. He says, so Ben says, all right. So he gave, he was kind of happy, I guess, that he didn't get stuck putting a car together. They didn't know where anything went, but everything turned out good. I ended up going to work for Joe, and I've always been the kind of person that questions everything. I just can't help it, man. I overanalyze things, and it's who I am. I want to know why. If I know why, I still have questions. It's just the way I'm built, man. Nothing satisfies me. I just always been that way. So, John, yeah, well, you never met Joe, man. he's a very laid back, very, very good guy, man. But what happened was, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, I guess. I mean, it's good because you kind of get thrown into the deep end of the pool. They did a lot, and I mean a lot of diagnostic work, man. Everything that came in that place was a car that was a problem. Everything that came in was a headache car. It was a car that nobody could fix, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So a lot. I mean, you see a lot of the videos here. There, we get a lot of stuff from other shops, and it was the same. I mean, it was the same thing down there. It's just that place was already established for a long time. That building, it was, and it was very well known, and it wasn't a surprise to come in the morning and have 10, 12 cars sitting outside every day, waiting, and they were all, diagnostic. Everything was diagnostics. It was, very little in the sense of brake jobs and exhaust and stuff. I mean, we got them, but Most of the stuff was problems. So Joe did all the diagnostic work. Then he would, tell us to change this or do this or whatever. Um, and I at the time knew nothing really. I mean, that's what I learned the first day that I was there. Man, I know nothing. Like, damn, I know nothing. And this thing's in with a check engine light. That one's in with battery going dead. This one's in with whatever. The thing went on fire. Whatever, like all kinds of crazy things. Um, yeah, then I fixed them. Yeah, there was no. Oh, man, we had that shop had Mitchell, all data. We used. We also had what was a really really nice thing was MEA, was Mechanics Education Association, which some of you guys will know. I know Keith knows it, but he's at Vision right now training, which is where I should be. But MEA was a great place, man. It was in Maplewood, New Jersey. They were only 20 minutes or so from us. And we used to spend a lot of time up there, man. We'd go up to classes. If you were a member, you could go to any of the classes every month. They would give you a calendar, and you would pick what you want. You would go to the class. And they had some very, very knowledgeable instructors up there. I miss those guys, man. I miss that school. I miss going up there. It was awesome. And they also offered tech support to any members. So if you called, if you would call up, you had a problem car, you could call them and work with them on the phone till we get it resolved, right? And Joe broke me into dealing with these guys early on and going up to the school, and he pushed me for, you have to go to training, you have to go up there. And I was like, and me, I'm very hands-on. I need to, and I'm still like that now. I have a very hard time learning in the classroom environment. I could watch, a class and take notes and all that stuff and do very good with that. I have a very hard time transitioning that into the actual working knowledge. I guess I don't know how else to explain it. If I'm doing something though, and I have somebody showing me on the vehicle, I'm golden. Okay, I'll pick it up and I have no problem. But I have a very hard time in the classroom environment trying to learn. Just always been that way. Not to say that I didn't learn. I went to MEA, and the way some of these guys taught up there, they got their. I understood, and I found myself. I don't know, like something clicks. I don't know how to explain it, man. Like I came into work one day and had a car that I know like a year ago I couldn't fix this. I would have never figured it out, you know what I mean? But I was right on it, you know what I mean? Just everything clicked. So yeah, it was great. The training was awesome. The guys up there were very knowledgeable, and they were good guys. They were just they were willing to help you. So that makes a difference, you know what I mean? I had stayed after class a lot of times with questions, and you always feel like you go up to an instructor and ask them something like after class, you almost feel like you're overstepping a boundary. I don't know, you know what I mean? But I tried my best, you know what I mean? And at that point, I just progressed, man. I stayed with Joe, kept trying to learn everything I could, drove him crazy for probably 20 years. And in the process of that, during that time, Erasmo, who's my partner, had been hired when another guy had left. And he worked there I believe since 2006 with Joe. And I left. Actually, I had decided that things weren't good enough for me there, and I was going to go out and, are Eurovision? Lucky you, man. I was gonna leave, and I wanted to go back to a dealer because I felt that it was going to be more of a career than being in an independent shop. And I'll make this part quick, but when I went to the dealer, I Rosedale Tech, yeah, man, yeah, Scanner Danner. Paul's a great guy. They're all great guys from what I hear up there, actually. Great instructors. For me, though, when I went, what age, how old am I? I'm 43. I'm 43, man. I'm old. I'm old. No good. But I ended up going to General Motors. They had asked me a number of times, the guy over there asked me a number of times if I would be willing to go to work for them, and I don't know. I was happy where I was. Then I decided I wasn't, and I was going to go move on. And like a dummy, and I mean, I've said this a million times, like a freaking dummy, I left a good shop, a good guy, a good shop. I don't know, man. and I left. I went over there and I went to work for those clowns at General Motors. And you ever think of instructing instead of working in the shop? Me? Nah, man, I'm not smart enough to instruct anybody, dude. I don't know anything. I'm just a guy that tries to get by every day. You know what I mean? Uh, but I went to the dealer and I started working there, and they paid me they had me set as a B tech because I don't do transmission work. Never did, never learned it. Uh, so that's that's it. Puppy, yeah, man. I'm old, dude. I feel old. I feel beat up. So I went to started out over there as a B tech. They told me that my electrical prowess means nothing. My diagnostic ability means nothing. You have to know how to do everything to be an A. I said, okay, whatever. Pay me as a B tech. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I said, I'm not doing transmissions. I'm not learning that now. I don't have any interest in it. I want to focus on what I know, and I just want to get better at that. I want to get better at drivability. I want to get better at electrical. I want to get better at the stuff that I'm already, good at. So I didn't want to learn basically a whole new world of crap that I have no interest in. So in any case, I went in there and I started doing what I had to do and working with, basically brand new vehicles for the most part. I mean, it was pretty funny to see actually when an older vehicle came in that guys didn't want anything to do with it because they were afraid of it. They didn't, they didn't know how to work on it, I guess. Not everybody. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some guys that were good, but um, a lot of guys shied away from the older vehicles. Me, I was like, yeah, I'll take it, whatever. Whatever. It's a battery drain, whatever it is. I don't care. I'll do it. But it's thanks, Wyatt. See you later. But in any case, I started doing what I do. You know what I mean? Just fixing the cars there. And I'm not going to go into the stories of stuff that I've seen at that place, but it was borderline comical and very sad at the same time. So after my career at GM ended when I was throwing a car. And I don't know how you guys feel about this kind of stuff, but I mean, look, dude, I'm set in my ways. I feel certain ways about things, and I do things the way I feel is right, and that's it. I don't care what anybody says. But I'll tell you what happened. You can draw your own conclusions. We had not a used car. We had I'm trying to think, what the hell was it, dude? We had a Pontiac come in that was a rental vehicle. It was one of those like Hertz cars, or I'm not sure what company. It was like that rental vehicle, and it had low mileage, like 10,000, whatever, 8,000, 10,000 miles on it. And they said it's a no start, no crank, no start. They gave me the RO. I said no problem. I'll go out and check it. And we pushed it inside with one of those pushers, right? Get it in my bay, and started my diagnosis on it. And right away, I could tell something bad, something real bad happened. Uh, the car's a no crank, but the motor's locked. So I verified it. I pulled the dipstick on the oil. It had oil in it. Motor locked up. I don't know. So at that point, I went inside. I wrote up my report on it, what I found, and I explained to them, the engine's bad, engine locked up. Yeah, I pulled the belt off it. It wasn't a pulley. Before somebody says that. So at that point, the guy says to me, well, what's wrong with it? And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with it. It has to be taken apart. I said, it's locked up. So he says, I need to know why. And I was like, it's got to be taken apart. And the way again, going back to the pay scale, you're a B tech or an A tech, whatever. That was considered, to break that engine down was considered an A tech's job. Okay, I don't know how that is in every dealer, but at least over there, that's what that was considered. It was an A tech's job to do that. And I said to him, I was like, well, you're going to pay me you're going to pay me an A rate to do this, to pull the motor out and pull it apart. And he goes, no, we're going to pay you your scale. And I said, well, then I'm not doing it. I said, I'm not going to pull it apart being paid for a B tech rate. I said, I want my A rate if I'm doing this. And he goes, no, you're not an A tech. You're not a trans guy. I said, look, I says, if I'm doing that job, I want to get paid as an A rate. And he says, no. I said, okay, then take it apart yourself. I quit. Have a nice day. And I walked out. That was that. Walking out the door, the manager for Ford caught me. And he liked me. I had a Mach 1 at the time that I had done all the work on myself, obviously. And he was impressed with the car. And he says, "Oh," he says, he says, "What happened?" He says, "You're leaving early today." I said, "I quit." He goes, "You quit?" I says, "Yep, I quit." I said, "I don't want to work for that guy." I said, "I don't like that place. I'm done." So he says, "Well, come and work for us." And I like started laughing. He goes, "Yeah, we're going to start a Mustang. We're going to start a high performance shop in the back just for Mustangs." I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." He said, "Why don't you get on that?" He said, "We're going to actually do teams. We're going to have a team just for that." And I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, we're going to have a dyno and everything." So my eyes lit up. I was like, "Oh, cool." So I'm going to get to tune cars and, really, I said, "I like doing that stuff." He says, "You know how to tune?" I says, "Yeah." I said, "Well," I said, I've done my own vehicle." He says, "You tune that?" I said, "Yeah." So right away he liked me. He wanted me in there. So I was like, "Okay." So I went to work. And they started me off, I forget, man, just doing basic, getting shown around the shop, and I basically had a babysitter for a week to show me how they do things. They did things completely different in Ford at the time than GM was doing. Uh, so they taught me all the, basic stuff that they wanted, and what do you call? I ended up going, doing my thing over there, and then getting into the Mustang stuff and doing that, and uh, before long they actually took me off all that stuff and they started moving people around, changing things. And I says, "I want to stay with the Mustangs if I'm, what I mean? That's what I was really hired for." And he says, "Yeah, but he said, he said, we need you on the diesel team." I've never worked on diesels in my life, guys. Never worked on a diesel. So they threw me in the, yeah, nice step up, right? But they threw me into the mix in the back of the place with the diesel guys, and I don't like working on diesels, man. I don't know anything about them. I'm not a diagnostic tech for them things. But to make a really long story short, I ended up in there working on those crap 6.0s, and I think I was the first guy in the dealer, believe it or not, of all of us, right? They had like Elite Masters in there, but they threw it at me. I had like a 6.4 when it first came out with a bad high pump, and nobody's ever worked on one of it. The thing had like 1,000 miles on it. The high pump went bad. So they tell me, "Well, just fix it, whatever. You'll get paid. Just take it apart and fix it." I was like, "Man, I hate doing high pumps. I was used to doing them on the 6.0s. They sucked. I thought they sucked. I don't like doing that shit." But anyway, I said, "All right, I'll do it, whatever." And then step one, because I looked up the procedure on it because I never done a 6.4. The procedure on it was step one, remove body. I was like, "What?" So yeah, man. I ended up doing I ended up doing the job and stuff. It was pretty neat in hindsight, but it's not something I'd want to do every day. Um, and then some bad stuff happened, and I was out of work for a year and a half. I couldn't work. Couldn't do anything really like with that stuff. I was pretty banged up. Um, that's a whole other story though. Um, when I came back to work, I Ford had changed hands, and that was the end of that. So I was no longer an employee there. It was just a really crazy ass situation, but they sold the place and it just whatever. But I was basically looking for a job, so I went to when I was able to work again. I went to an independent place and I tried it. I didn't like the guys at all. Very shady characters and not my type of people, so I left. And I ended up actually in a service a gas station with a shop in another town. And I was there for a while, and the guy that ran the place was kind of like one of those guys that thinks he knows everything and never turned a wrench in his life, and just an arrogant little pain in the ass. Um, so I kind of got fed up with him, and it was a mutual firing slash I quit type thing where, uh, I was gonna strangle him, but thought better of it, and that was that. Uh, and after that, I ended up back with Joe. I think it was like in 2011 or 12, and yeah, man, I felt. Let me tell you, man, people are lucky sometimes that we actually obey laws, man. Uh, but I ended up getting back to Joe, and you know, it was what it was. You know what I mean? I was thrilled to be back with him, And it wasn't too long before he started talking about not really wanting to be there anymore and not really wanting to do it anymore. And uh, at the time, I guess my hopes were that I was going to take over the shop, and basically, as he did, he took over when he started working for the other Joe before him. Um, what basically happened was he bought the building from the old Joe's family, all right, because he had passed away. Uh, what they did was they held the mortgage, I guess, or whatever the case was, and he made payments every month, like you would basically pay a rent or a lease or whatever, a mortgage, and he paid the family and he paid the place off, and that was that, and then it was his. So I was kind of thinking that it was going to happen the same way with us, myself and Erasmo, that we would take over, and uh, it was, almost like a foregone conclusion, I guess, and it didn't work out that way. Yeah, you're not learning much today, though, right? But yeah, man. So as it turned out, these clowns came in from New York, and they bought the building that was right next to the old shop. Um, the This big abandoned freaking building that should have been condemned 20 years ago. They bought it because they wanted the property, and I knew it wasn't going to be long before they started approaching. Thanks, man. I knew it wasn't going to be long before they started to approach the shop, and try to buy it. And that's exactly what they did. They kept pushing Joe into selling, and kind of unfortunate. I think. I'm still annoyed that happened. I mean, I'm happy for Joe that he works so hard and deserves something where he can sit back, you know what I mean, and not have to worry, you know what I mean. Not that not that he really doesn't have to worry, but you know what I mean. Like he doesn't have to go to work every day and struggle and whatever. So he was there 42 years. It's a long time. So now what ended up happening was we took over the business. Uh, Joe helped us out to get going. Um, and he ended up, giving us the equipment that he had in the shop. Plus, I mean, I have a lot of my own equipment. Obviously, I've always been the guy to buy my own stuff and whatever. But uh, yeah, Bill. Yes, I'm going to TST with Keith. That's correct. He twisted my arm, man. I tried to fight him off, but Keith is a tough dude. Beat me into submission on that one. I'm glad to be going, man. I can't wait. Uh, but I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, in any case, we ended up getting forced basically to find the shop to go to, and we got forced to do it quickly. And there was nothing around. The places that I went to look at were ridiculous. Yeah, man. We I remember going to this one place. They wanted some absurd freaking amount of money for a one bay garage. That was in a crap neighborhood. That was just. I mean, it was like. Yeah, I was like, I mean, just I don't know, man. Very hard to find the place, and we were lucky enough to get into this place here. Hopefully, it lasts a while. And the truth of it is, guys, this business. I mean, we had a very good business in Jersey City, but it wasn't mine. Okay. Uh, we were very very well known. We were very very busy all the time, and when we moved, a lot of the customers don't want to come. I mean, we have some, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of customers that will not come from Jersey City to this area. So it makes no sense. It's not, it's not like it's a million miles away, but it is what it is. So we ended up coming here. We're trying to get the business known here and trying to pick up more business, obviously. Uh, yeah, everything's overpriced. It sucks, man. It sucks. I mean, look, man, I have no problem saying it. I say it on other forums, and I'll say it here. I'll say it on my own channel. I mean, I've been on. I always try to catch Eric's live videos. I love watching them. I love interacting with the guys that are on there, and I try to, anytime that I can try to help somebody with a question, I try my best in the chat. But I also try to keep order in his chat because that gets out of control sometimes. But you know, I've said it there and I'll say it here. New Jersey sucks. This state sucks. It's corrupt. Uh, it just is what it is, man. Uh, there's no uh, there's no two ways about it. Like the state sucks. You know what I mean? Everything about it. So uh, I don't know. You know what I mean? If I had it my way, I wouldn't be here. I'd go to like I'd go back to like a real state like America, like I don't know, like Pennsylvania, Virginia, anywhere but here. Anywhere in the tri-state area, I should say, sucks in my opinion. But I'm kind of stuck. You know what I mean? In a situation, and it is what it is. You got to make the best of it, which I'm trying to do. But like I said, my shop now is out of the way. Any of you guys that I don't know if any of you guys that are actually on here live now have been to the shop. No, you can't pump your own gas, man. You can't do that. Not in Jersey. It's a big no-no because we're not we're not intelligent enough to know how to pump gas. Hey, man, what's going on, brother? Hey, I came to join your live video before, and I was by myself. I was like, hi. Nobody was there. I was test. I didn't realize test, but that's what ended up happening, man. So here we are, present day. We've been here for about 2 years, praying to God that lasts. You don't want to pump your own gas. Well, here's some gasoline for you. How'd you like that? I don't know if any of you guys did I have this on a video? I showed you guys this already, right? Yeah. Now I'm getting like reruns here. Yeah, Cars was yeah, absolutely, man. He was teasing us. I was like, oh, Cars is going live. Cool, man. I'll go in there and break his chops in the chat. I was like, hello. It's all good. Oh, are you, man? That's awesome, dude. Yeah, it's you know what? I like doing the live stuff, man. I actually like it better than doing the videos. Edited and stuff. I mean, I just can't do like live repairs. It's too much, man. It's too much cursing involved too. Is the last laugh? Yeah, no kidding, right? Um, but yeah, we're here. We're trying to do our best. Like I said, man, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to get known in a new town. Even though, I mean, I've made friends in this town with a couple of body shops, and I've made friends with some of the other shops that are in town and stuff. I mean, I do live in this town. I don't interact with many people here, but I live here, and I've already had jobs sent to me from places here. You know what I mean? And I might come off sometimes like talking bad. Look, man, I'm gonna tell you guys. I think I offended somebody because I said something about getting jobs from other shops. I don't really care that you're offended if you're on here or you're not. Whatever. I don't care. I speak my mind and I speak the truth, and that's who I am. And I'm not going to change for anybody, and I don't care. Okay, that's the truth. I don't. Um, you know, I'm trying to put videos out for guys, and I'm trying to show what actually happens. I've said this from the beginning with this channel. I want to show what really goes on in a shop, or what we really deal with. I try not to curse online, and I try to be I don't know. I try to be professional, okay, and I am professional, but I don't I don't try to come off as a jerk or anything like that, even though I probably do sometimes. Yeah, man, I don't bullshit, man. I'm sorry, like I'm not going to start doing that because somebody's butthurt about what I said. The fact of the matter is, there are shops that are out there every day working on your wife's car, your daughter's car, whoever's car, okay, doing brakes, doing this, doing that, that should not be doing it. They have no business. They have no clue. They should not be doing it. That's it. You don't like that I said that? Find another channel. I don't care. I'm not making any money off YouTube. I could care less who watches me. I really could. I'm not out here like some guys that I won't mention that are talking all this bullshit and lies and don't do this with your car and don't buy this car ever, and if this ever happens, here's how to fix it in 2 minutes. I'm not doing that. Those guys are trying to cash in on people that don't know any better, okay? And I'm going to say that too, and if you got a problem with it, oh well. It's the truth. There are people that are out there, and I hate to break it to some people, man, but yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. We're technicians. We're not guys. Any of us that are on here doing this for real are real technicians. Okay, and the truth of it is, man, Uh, you have guys out there that are making over $1 million a year on YouTube. You know what they're doing? They're laughing all the way to the goddamn bank because they're sitting there putting up just crap that they're coming up with out of their head, false things that they're doing. Um, it aggravates me because when I see that, what they're doing is they're giving false information to people that do not know. Okay, people that watch some of these channels and these videos have no clue how to fix a car. They have no clue what's actually going on. That's why they're here. They want to learn something. So if you, let me put it this way. When I used to train in martial arts, a guy said something to me a long time ago that made a lot of sense, and it's very applicable here. If you know this much, right, and I know that much, I don't know a whole shit lot more than you do, right? But I know something more than you do. I know a little bit. So I'm going to come off like a freaking genius when I start talking and when I start explaining how something works or how whatever. The sad thing is, not everybody, these people that are watching YouTube are not all mechanics. They're not all technicians. They're not all guys that understand this stuff. They want to learn how to fix their own car. They want to see something that makes sense. So these guys come up with these things and they start pushing bullshit. Okay, and I don't know. I'm probably gonna get censored here. I don't care. It's the truth. Okay, and they push this stuff, and they tell people to use a cigar to check for a vacuum leak or an evap leak or whatever the hell it was. But I remember a video on that. I remember it's actually real. How to check a leak. I remember that. Okay, and my head almost exploded when I saw that. I mean, dude, come on, man. Yeah, instead of going out and buying a freaking $1,200 smoke machine, I'll just go buy a dollar cigar down the street. I'll go buy a blunt, and I'll use that. I don't want to say any names, but yeah, that guy. Um, Dude, if you're making money doing that, uh, yeah, if you're making money doing that, man, you're cashing in on people that are trying to actually learn something. Okay, that guy too. Uh, you know, some of the stuff is so off the wall, man. And I sit there and I go, how the hell do people actually believe this? People don't know, man. They're not educated in this stuff. So to them, they think that this guy is some kind of guru or something, man. They should be watching Brandon Steckler. That's who they should be watching if you want to freaking learn something. Go watch those guys. Go watch Train by Text. Go join up with Diag.net. Spend some money instead of making some clown money that hasn't got a clue. And you know something? I would venture a guess, okay? And this is just my humble opinion because I really am a dummy and I don't know much of anything. Sure as hell must be. I'm not making $1 million on YouTube. But the truth of it is, there's guys out there, okay, that are cashing in. Right, Scanner Dan. Paul's a freaking awesome guy. These guys are real techs. You know what they have in common? They're all down to earth. They're all humble, okay? They're good people. And they're willing to share their knowledge. Who does that, man? Do you think those guys are actually on YouTube trying to cash in? They're not. They're not. Are they making money? I hope they are. I really hope that they're doing very well on YouTube. But the fact of the matter is, they're not on YouTube. They didn't start that to try to become some kind of celebrity or try to make money. They went on there because they actually wanted to share their knowledge and be the same reason I did. I didn't go on here to try to make money. I didn't even know you could make money on YouTube. That's the truth of it. I had no clue. A friend of mine told me. He goes, "Oh, you making money yet?" I said, "Making money where?" I said, "I'm broke." I don't know. He goes, "Yeah, you can make money on YouTube." I said, "I didn't know that." And I mean, even though my channel's monetized, do you think I'm actually making any money? I'm not. You have to have a lot of views, man. You have to have a lot of subscribers, and you know what I mean? And if it happens, I mean, great. You know what I mean? If I can make a couple of dollars off it, that's awesome. But you know what? I'm not going to put false information out to make money. I'm not going to cash in on people not knowing something and use that as a tool to make money. That's just wrong, dude. And I actually called this guy on it on one of his latest videos, one of those guys. I called him on it. And I'm sure that I'm probably on my way to getting banned. Uh, yeah, that's right, Jim the car guy. Jimmy happens to be one of my closest friends. I mean, I've known Jimmy for God, man, I can't even tell you how long. One of my closest friends. I would do anything for Jimmy. and that's the truth. Like I would do anything for Jimmy if he asked me. Um, One of the best people I know. He's not on YouTube to make money. He didn't go on there to make money. He went on there to show people what's going on. Real shop talk, real shop environment. And you know what the sad part about it is? If you take a look at the guys that are real, okay, some of these guys, yeah, they have a lot of viewers. You know what I mean? They have a good number of viewers, I should say. Yeah, he since I was a kid, man, and he tried to rent that apartment. My mother almost ruined the whole thing for me. Um, the funny thing though, man, is that if you look at these guys that have Scanner Danner and some of these other guys, man, they have incredible information, dude. That you cannot buy that stuff. You can't buy information like that. It's just incredible. The thing that Scanner Danner has, in my opinion, over a lot of other guys is that he's actually a teacher. You know what I mean? Um, I think that Eric from South Main too is another guy like that's is fantastic. He's not a teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't work as a teacher, but he has a great way of getting his points across and stuff. And he has a great way of showing what he's trying to do, and just a great way to explain things. He definitely is somebody you can learn from. I mean, God, man, the guy's great. Paul is he's a freaking teacher. You know what I mean? So he's got like the best of both worlds with that, right? It is. It's like going to training. It's like it is, man. It's the best way to put it. It really is like going to training. They're fantastic guys, man. And you know something? I'm a lucky person in the respect that I know. I recently got to speak to Eric. You know, we recently became acquainted. Outside of YouTube, and as well, Paul as well. I've spoken to him on a number of occasions. They man, you almost get starstruck like talking to these guys, and they're not like that, man. They're just so down to earth, and they're so just cool people, man. Just good down to earth people. Uh, he banned. Wait a minute, what, Bill? He banned Eric and Keith. Really? Well, dude, you know what? That's a club that I need to be in. I'm gonna work harder on it. I don't think it'll take me long because that guy's an idiot. That's the truth. Uh, yeah, so have I. So have I, bro. I've been watching Scanner Danner. I've been watching Eric way before I even knew that Jimmy knew Eric. And I mean, just if you find something, you're not, you could judge for yourself. If you find something that has good information, especially being in this field, I know if a guy's full of crap. I see a guy like, what I mean, blowing cigar smoke into a tube. Yeah, he's full of crap. Uh, yeah, Dan is another guy. I never got to really speak to Dan, unfortunately, but I've commented on his videos and I watch his videos. I think he's fantastic. Um, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So these are just guys that are fantastic, man. Jimmy, and I don't want to leave Jimmy out of that either. Jim is a great teacher. Jim is a guy that you can learn from. You know what I mean? Um, the only difference with Jimmy is that Jimmy doesn't usually get as technical as these guys with like the scope training and the stuff like that. But Jimmy could teach guys a lot of stuff, man. His videos, I mean, like you can learn how to do things on his channel. It's fantastic. Um, my problem comes in where guys are if you guys take a minute and you go to each of those channels that you guys just mentioned, okay, the good channels, take a look at the amount of subscribers those guys have, okay? And I'm not being a jerk. I'm just stating fact. Go to the other channel and see how many subscribers these morons have. Something is very wrong with society today, guys. If that's the kind of crap that they're believing in and they want to watch, instead of watching real technicians doing real work, or going on even the TST seminars that are online for free, for God's sake, go watch them. You know what I'm saying? And if you want real, you want real deal stuff, that's where you go. Yeah, 1.9 million people. Jesus, God Almighty. And I've had people yell at me for comments that I put on those channels. Okay, I've had people like criticize me because I'm just trying to get subscribers. Somebody said to me, "I'm trying to get subscribers by going on there." I'm not looking for his subscribers, man, because if you're stupid enough to believe what that guy's telling you, I don't want you watching my channel. Um, that's the truth of it. I don't care. I don't care, man. Uh, yeah, yeah, he's, whatever, man. But how do this is what society is showing you. That those numbers are showing you something. They're showing you that people are more interested in watching baloney than they are watching real facts and real things. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe they're there for the entertainment factor or something because I don't find it entertaining. I think it's stupid, but um, it would wait. We say I would even go so far to place a bet that if someone who watched what I have, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal is. I just, I actually didn't start this video to like badmouth anybody or anything like that. I just find myself doing it. I guess maybe I am a no good person, man. I don't know. Dude, you know what? Scanner Danner, Eric O, Jimmy, those guys should have 2 million subscribers. They should. They're fantastic. Those guys should. Everybody should be watching them. Um, I don't. Have the video. I don't know how to put it, man. My stuff is not as good as theirs, and I don't even pretend to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna pretend that it is. It's not. I mean, their videos are amazing. Uh, I try to just put out what I can, and I try to show the people that watch the truth. You know what I mean? And I want to show them the truth. And the bottom line is, man, there's no matter what you do, you're always gonna have, you're always gonna have clowns out there cashing in on people that don't know better. But I think it kind of blows that they do that. You know what I mean? Um, but what I'm focused on is the shop, my partner, my wife, the things that matter. You know what I mean? The people that are really my close friends. Um, that's what matters to me. And networking with all of these great techs. I've recently, like I said, become acquainted with Eric. I've also recently become acquainted with some other fantastic guys, man. Cody. If you guys haven't seen his channel, which I'm sure if you're here, you've seen it, go see Cody. Go see Super Mario. Obviously, that guy's incredible. These are all guys, man. You know what I mean? I've been talking to some just outstanding people in this industry, and those are the people I want to surround myself with. I don't want to surround myself with morons. I want to be around guys that crave knowledge, guys that want to teach knowledge, give knowledge that we could share things. You know what I mean? Because nobody knows it all, man. If you don't stay humble in this business, it'll humble you in a hurry. Uh, I don't care how good you are. There's going to be something that you don't know. It just is what it is. So, um, I've been focused a lot lately. I've been spending nights up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, watching, TST seminars and things that I have, saved on my computer, videos of these guys training and, even just staying up watching videos that Keith has put out at New Level or watching Eric's videos, just all kinds of stuff to try to just gain stuff, what I mean? Gain little tidbits of information and knowledge and things, man. But there's nothing like networking, you know what I mean? There's nothing like it. But that's really all I wanted to say, guys. You know what I mean? I wanted to tell you a little bit about where I came from, and I don't know how the hell we got off the subject, but it always seems to happen. Uh, Whatever, but it's cool. You guys that do watch the channel, I do appreciate it. You know what I mean? Would I like the channel to grow? Yeah, of course I would. I mean, it would be nice to have a bigger audience, of course, but it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? People are not going to like everybody, and a lot of what I'm finding is a lot of people don't like the truth. They don't want to know the truth. They don't want people to speak the truth. They want people to sugarcoat everything and make everything so nice and pretty. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm just never going to do that. Uh, I'm just going to be who I am. I try to tone down the bad language, but that's about it. Aside from that, if I get a car in, that a shop set on fire, by accident, I'm gonna call them on it. I'm gonna say that, guys are idiots, man. Like whatever. They shouldn't be working on it, and that ain't gonna change. So, in the meantime, hopefully, more people will join in, and and we'll grow. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. But what I'm focused on is the training right now. I cannot wait for TST. Are any of you guys that are still in here going to TST? By the way, I think somebody said something before that they were going to be there. I don't remember who said it. Because I'm really looking forward to that. I forget. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know who's going with. I mean, I know I'm going with Keith. I'm not sure who else is going with us from here. they're just curious because I'm not gonna know like a lot of people up there, man. And I'm really bad with like names and stuff, and that's my concern. I don't want to look like a clown because I don't know who the who's talking to me or whatever. But you know, introduce yourself, and uh, if we don't know each other or whatever, I'd love to meet everybody, man. That's going and network with more of you guys. You know what I mean? We'll exchange numbers, or whatever, and it should be a hell of a good time. But I'm looking forward to. I don't even know what classes there are. That's how crazy it is. I have no idea what the hell we're going up there to learn. I believe that Brandon Steckler is going to be teaching a pressure waveform class. So I took the one online. I can't wait to. I hope he's doing it again. I can't wait to take that again. Uh, we'll see. But for now, I'm gonna go home, and it's 3:30. I'm tired. I'm gonna go home and relax. Monday's another day, and that'll be it. I got a video to work on. I may put out later tonight or tomorrow. We'll see how things go. Otherwise, it'll be during the week. But like again, guys, thanks for joining in. You guys always support me. I don't have a huge following, but I have a following of very good supporters here. So you guys are awesome. Cars, when you go live, I got the bells rung. So when you're live, I'll definitely be on there, man. Hopefully it's at a time that I'm not working. But I'll see you guys soon, man. Thanks for everything. Really appreciate it.